Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello there.
Thanks so much for being here. I just want to kick us off by kind of reading some bios and just to make sure that Zoom shows who you are when I read it. Johnny Helleland, can you say something so it clicks over to you?
I can say something. I'm here all the way up from Norway.
Perfect. Johnny Helleland is an early school dropout. He later had 3 stable jobs, but found them too limiting. He has been a web designer, a Shopify expert, and a trainer. He had 17 years of martial arts and built character through Taekwondo. He constructs and manifests his reality from the knowledge deep within and elegantly excludes himself from society's crap and lower norms. He shares his mind energy philosophies with people who find the essence of their existence to be infinite and powerful by teaching the concept of self-mastery. Then we've got A.K. Turner. Hi, A.K.
Hello.
A.K. Turner is the New York Times bestselling author of the Vagabonding with Kids series from Brown Books, as well as This Little Piggy Went to the Liquor Store, Mommy Had a Little Flask, and Hair of the Corn Dog. Her works have received a starred review from Publishers Weekly, IPPY Awards in Humor and Travel, a Forward Indies Award, an Independent Press Distinguished Favorite, and listing in Book Life's Top 5 Indie Books of 2014. A former humor columnist, A.K. Turner founded the Writer's Block on Radio Boise, serves on the board of the Idaho Writers Guild, and speaks at conferences and in live comedy events. A former writer in residence for the city of Boise and Idaho State Park, she lives in Idaho with her husband and 2 children, but travels very frequently as a part-time digital nomad. And then we also have Charlene Burke. Hi, Charlene.
Hi, Claire.
Charlene Burke is a marketing and search consultant and the founder of Search by Burke, which provides business research, marketing consulting, training, and mastermind groups for business owners. Charlene is also the author of No More Sabotage, Developing Your Success Mindset. Charlene is serious about business and working with clients and thinks life is better when injected with humor throughout the day. She usually has 3 to 4 novels being read at any given time, shoots pool in a league, and is currently adding trophies to her collection. She thinks Star Trek Voyager is the best one ever and believes that Superman is better than the knight in shining armor because he can keep up with Wonder Woman. So, okay, I love it. So, Charlene, we're going to start with you. Tell me a little bit more kind of about the background that I didn't just say, and talk to me about how you began to sort of shift your mindset to success. You know, when did you become passionate about mindset as really part of your journey?
Well, thank you for asking, Claire. In all honesty, I became passionate about it when I realized it actually works. I'm really serious about that. I often say I was born anxiety-ridden. I was the socially backward, awkward, weird, nerdy kid that literally did not know how to get by in this world. I didn't understand when you communicated with me. I tried to talk to you and you just, So what happened was when I was in my 20s trying to navigate offices in the corporate culture, and I was anxiety ridden, I came across a gal, an older woman who eventually became my mentor, one of many. And this was back in the day where she would invite me to her home and over a cup of coffee at the kitchen table, literally would tell me how I can change my thinking so that I could feel more confident, be better in my work, and attract the right kind of people to me. Now, that's not how she presented it to me, but within a short time, that's what it became. Honestly, I am one of those people. I am a trainer, and it is very important to me that people understand the how and then understand the why they're doing something to connect the two. But when I'm told that I have to change how I think and left to my own devices, really weird things will happen. So I succeeded when somebody told me what I'm supposed to change it to. And then I would practice it and it worked and I was confident and I started getting the jobs I wanted. Today I have the business that I want. Today I work with the people that I want to. So that's why I'm passionate. It's because it works.
So talk to me about what it looks like in practice in your daily life.
Sure. So if I'm having issues, if I'm having struggles, if I am caught up in a whirlwind of worry or anxiety or trying to anticipate what is going to happen down the road, I am completely out of mindfulness and being present in the day, but uncertain of what's coming down the pike and I'm stuck there. I have an inner circle of people that I communicate with regularly. And if they don't catch it, I usually do and say something, and it's a reaching out that I do that'll say, I can't get this out of my head. I'm either replaying yesterday's mistake or I am worrying about tomorrow's what might be. And I am just stuck here and it's driving me crazy. I don't like it. I can't get out of it. And I will be told what to think instead. And so first we walk through it. Just tell me what's in the head. And then I will be told, well, how about we think about it this way? How about instead you look at it this way? So for instance, I'm really worried I'm going to fail that test that I have to take tomorrow. I haven't even taken the test, but I have gotten myself worked up and convinced I'm going to fail it, right?
Right.
I know that's not good. I know I have to get this out of my head and I can't. So I can reach out to somebody and instead be told, again, by a trusted friend, and actually I'm telling you what I have just recently told a young gal, is that, well, you have to recognize you haven't even taken the test yet. Are you as prepared as you can be? And if you are as prepared as you can be, let's reframe that and say, I am so prepared to take that test. I am confident I will do my best. I'm not saying I'm confident I'm going to pass. I'm confident I'm going to be the best, but I am confident in my preparedness. And now I can change the thinking. So now it's, oh, I'm really worried about that. No, I'm not worried about that test because I am confident that I have prepared myself. And so I'm training myself over a short period of time to replace what I'm thinking. But it can only be done one at a time. I can't do a whole, trust me, there were times I wanted a full personality transplant. It doesn't happen that way. So one at a time, I would practice what I was told and slowly change the way I viewed myself in the world. And that's really what it came down to. And that's what I do today. Now, sometimes today I catch myself thinking the old way, something, whatever, we just do. I'm human. And I catch it and I say, well, that's just not true. It's this, because I know what I've replaced it with.
Right.
I've replaced it. So that's what it looks like to me.
I love it. So Amanda, much of your story also relates to, doing things that people didn't think that you as a parent could do. Right. So I kind of want to know if mindset has played a role in some of your choices and what it looks like these days.
Absolutely. A huge role. And it didn't come easily to me. It wasn't like like when Charlene was talking about being the awkward, nerdy kid, I was like, oh, you're my spirit animal. I loved that. And I also appreciate her acknowledging that you have to constantly check back in. It's not like I have this mindset and it's so easy and I'm always, thinking from the right perspective that I want to approach something from. But when we first decided as a family, okay, we want to travel at least 4 months of every year with our 2 very young daughters. When we first talked about travel, I was like, okay, well, we'll have to only travel in the summers and on spring break and Christmas break because we can't take the kids out of school, right? And I was like,
Right.
Well, can't we? Maybe we can, And so it's a learned thing and I'm constantly working at it. So once I got over the school aspect of it and we looked at different forms of education, and once I realized that it's actually more beneficial for their education to travel than to give them an uninterrupted school year at the local elementary school, then I could start examining other things. Then it was like, oh, well, we can't take our kids into the Amazon jungle. Well, actually you can, and it's pretty cool and it's a really good experience. But I battle that constantly. I always have to check in and say, Are we limiting ourselves because we have limited thinking? Because, there's this convention and this is the one way to do things and the one way things are done. So it's a constant like checking in to think, well, what if we remove those barriers? What if we take that conventional thinking and just set that aside? It's not that it's all wrong or that it's unimportant, but what if we set it aside and then look at the possibilities and then, figure out where can we take this? And so just by checking in like that, it's opened up a whole world of opportunity, of travel, of parenting styles, of education styles. It's really created a different lifestyle. And, that's just a big part of it, is not falling back into there's only one way to do things, or you can't take your kids out of school. And yeah, so it's really changed how we approach everything, travel, parenting, all of that.
So do you do something consciously to sort of proactively push those boundaries, or know that you're always trying to sort of push a new boundary? Or how do you sort of stay fresh, essentially, I guess is the question.
I think I just try to hear myself anytime the word can't is in my head. Mm-hmm. I try to stop and recognize it. Like can't should be, highlighted. And so when that crosses my thinking, if I can just recognize it. And my husband and I work as a team this way too. I mean, we will talk things out and say, well, wait, why do you think that way? Or maybe we can do this, So it's just recognizing that as a red flag and then sort of diving a little deeper into the issue.
So Johnny, mindset is a big, big piece of your work as well. Can you sort of talk to me about why it plays such an important role and how it got that place in your work?
Yeah. Mindset. Yes. It's something I talk about pretty often. I write about it in my emails, and I write about this topic in my blog posts. And I guess it comes from, I would say, from my childhood, because it's been a pretty shitty childhood, actually. And I used that as part of my story. And actually, the local newspaper actually wrote a story about us a couple of years ago that just exploded. And because of people's reactions to the way we've been living with our mom, and that we didn't get the help we needed at that time. So, and I can say that at that point, I didn't really understand my own story until I read it in the newspapers. That was kind of a special thing. So, but to pitch that really shortly, it's been, we've been living alone with our mother. We've been moving about 32 times, I think, including living in tents and for free in a motel once. I can't remember it. There's so many black holes in that timeline. But and after I moved away from my stepfather, number 5, I was living actually in an old house on the countryside with my dog, which probably helped me a lot. And that's the time when I started to practice Taekwondo for 17 years, and quickly became a trainer, because I noticed that that club was down in a ditch because the black belt was leaving. So we had to take over it in a way. And I noticed that I liked doing this. I did it just, by a natural act in a way. So, and I got into this flow when I do that. So already at that time, I started to learn that. And I've been doing a lot of reading, researching, not really in school. I almost didn't attend school at times. But with all the, everything is available. Everything is available for everybody if they want some change in their lives. It won't help to go to school anyway, because you don't really learn anything about your life, your inner self, the reality we live in, on a deeper level. So you don't really learn anything about life. So if you want to learn something, you need to find that way. And I did that pretty early. And I have to say that I think there's always been, I'm starting to see that's always been something with me, because I recognize what you other guys says, Charlene and Amanda, because being an outsider in a way, being different and being understanding things differently and looking at things differently. So, of course, the childhood and my story there, shaped me. I never complain about my childhood. I use it as an example and a contrast compared to others' success, where they are. I would say that everything, we talked about, or you mentioned the topic of my 7 steps to self-mastery, which is a concept I teach. Everything starts with a thought for every one of us. So it depends on what kind of thoughts you carry around with, right? So every thought, every act starts with a thought every day, everything we do every day. So I usually talk to people and I ask them what kind of minds governs your head, or rules your daily life, because that's where everything will start from. And I would say that my mindset, I usually tell people that my mindset secures my success. Right. If you have that in place and you know what you want and know who you are, with that mindset and the right programming, I would say, right sources of information and being with the right people, that creates that success mindset, and like attracts like.
I love that. I love that. Charlene, so if that is true, if a great mindset can secure your success, why do so many business owners struggle with mastering mindset? Why isn't this sort of our first priority, right? To figure out, and why do we instead, when we face challenges, just want to sort of curl up in a ball or something?
Because you're trying to do it all by yourself.
Huh.
That's been my experience, personal, and working with many in my mastermind groups and watching them and listening to their struggles, and then one-on-one, as I'm not a coach as much as I have been a mentor, where it's just a recognition that when you're stuck inside your own head, you're the only one that's talking, you're the only one that's listening. So therefore, if you cause the problem, you really don't have the answer, do you? I mean, think about that for a second, right? So by having trusted people, and that's what I refer to my inner circle as, right? These are the trusted people that I can just be me with. By having access to them and that kind of relationship with at least one person, if not 2 or 3, it depends on the person how many you have. Those are the people that are going to help remind you the path that you're on. Now, having said that, there are still times when we hit overwhelm, and it's because it can happen so quickly, can't it? When I woke up this morning and I was ready for the world, and 5 seconds later, I'm so overwhelmed, I want to crawl under my desk. Right? It can happen that quickly. Well, I'm a believer that, yes, everything begins with a thought. But I think that thoughts can change my actions, but I also think that my actions can change my thoughts. So when I'm really stuck in my head, when I am hit the wall, when I literally am so overwhelmed that, to me, that's what it is, that I just want to curl up and give up. I've been trying. That's what I'm stuck in my head with, right? I just keep trying. I'm hitting this wall. I can't get through. I'm going to go back to what AK said. I can't, and I'm not catching that. But it gets me in a state that almost like this numbness happens. It's time to walk away. Literally, take some action. Walk away. Get in a new environment. Get in the best thing for me. And what I have found for the majority of people that I tell this to is to get in an environment very different from what you're stuck in with your business. More importantly, be of service to somebody else. Get out of your head. Get into your heart. Give away something, be it your time or your thought or your knowledge. Give it to somebody else who can use it. And what I will do is, this is my saving, oh my gosh, this has saved my life, is I work with women in shelters and halfway houses, and I teach them life skills. And I have access to those shelters and the halfway house. So if I get into that overwhelm, into that, I just have to give up what I'm doing, I go over there and I start focusing my attention on somebody who doesn't have nearly what I have.
Right.
Sometimes it's a smile, that's all they need, a reassurance that the hair looks good, that the new outfit actually fits correctly, that you did the checkbook right, that yes, you cooked dinner last night and they actually ate it. Trust me, this is a big deal for somebody coming off the street. They got their kids and they're scared to death, don't know what to do next. It's really okay. Let's just calm down and just be grateful for the moment that you have the opportunity to spend time with your kids. Now, see, what happens is I break my state and I have a completely different mindset. I am focused on somebody else, and it's much more important at that moment to help somebody else. And when I come back to my desk, when I come back to my office area, and I don't feel like giving up, I still may be frustrated, but suddenly I have a level of perspective I didn't have, and it frees my thinking and it frees my heart. And that's action. Get up, walk away. I will advise this. I have been so overwhelmed and angry that you get physical. We all know the importance of being physical to release that anger. Do not take a baseball bat to an oak tree. It fights back. Just so you know. Okay? That's my word. Yeah, the reverb is real. It's real. So that's my take on it.
So Amanda, or AK, what about this idea of teaching kind of the mindset and teaching better ways to think about sort of our lives and our success to our children? What kind of steps have you taken to do that? Is it possible? How does it work?
Well, I think, first of all, leading by example is really important. And so when we say, okay, kids, here's our next, we're going to go to Australia, and they say, well, for how long? And 2 months. And well, what's it going to be like? We say, we don't know. We've never been. And we have some of the trip figured out, but not all of it. And so mom and dad have the same questions you guys do, and we're just going to figure it out along the way, and we're going to learn together. So being honest about, instead of presenting yourself as, well, I'm mom, so I know everything and I have everything figured out. Being honest about my own apprehensions is really important, but showing them that they can, we can work through that. And sometimes you can work through that on your own, but sometimes you need to talk it through with someone else. So that's really important. The other thing is we made a conscious decision to speak very honestly and directly with our children. At present, they are 7 and 10 years of age, but there are so many things that parents, you get conditioned to think that you have to hide your children from certain elements, alcohol, bad language, knowledge of what sex is, all those awkward things that we think we have to keep their minds young and innocent. Well, all of that knowledge is going to come in time. And I think it's important for us to just really have, instead of saying, no, you can't have a sip because this is mommy's water and it's icky or adult or different, saying, well, this has alcohol in it. And that's, your body is not ready for that. Just being real honest with our parenting, and also as we travel through the world, being honest about what we see, about the differences we see in culture, about celebrating those differences. It's been absolutely joyful to see how our children react to that, to see the changes in them as they grow, as they're exposed to different cultures, how they process that information. Because they see it with much fresher minds than adults do. They don't bring the same stereotypes to a situation that adults do. And so I would say we learn from them as much as they learn from us, which is a really cool thing. It's fun. And it's exciting to watch how they develop.
That's amazing. I mean, I have little kids right now, and sort of starting to see that is such an interesting process. So
It
yeah,
is. Yes, absolutely. How old are your children?
I have a 3-year-old and then 2 7-month-old twins.
Oh, well, you're in a
Early
different.
on in the journey.
I hope you get sleep sometimes.
Yep. So, Johnny, can we sort of dive into a little bit more of what self-mastery is and sort of the connection between self-mastery and mindset and how we develop self-mastery?
Sure. Yes, probably you would get a few different answers depending on what kind of people you ask. But to me, self-mastery is, of course, based on a lot of my own learning and my own story and background. But it started with me writing an ebook about a year ago, maybe, that I've been giving away on my website. It's called 7 Steps to Self-Mastery. And what I did is that I wanted to compile what I consider to be one of the most important things to understand to get access to live a more fuller and more rich life. What kind of things to understand, and actually in which progress I have, been presenting these. So first of all, to me, understanding self-mastery is basically about being more aware about things, being more aware about yourself, your existence, and actually where we come from. Because to me, you mentioned in the beginning when you said what I teach and preach is that I mention society's lower norms. And usually I tell people those that I take care of are usually people that are kind of outsiders. They sense that there's something more to life, and there's they things they get attracted to, and the things they feel, maybe experience. And I usually start to talk about, when I get to even some metaphysical concepts, I talk about. I tell people that you haven't just had one life. And that's one of the things I'm thinking is really important to understand when I'm saying that to be more aware is about yourself, your body and mind, who you are right now, your existence, because we do for sure know that you exist. We can confirm that. And where we come from. Because I've seen so many people, I've actually been in contact with people and kids in relation to a couple of documentaries I've been working with. And it's pretty, kind of special when you have kids talking about memories from completely different lives. Been happening a lot, been checking out about that. And when people understand that there's more to life than just this life, that we do carry along with us something more that shape our lives, you start to get a more broad, expansion and understanding of life in general and what it implies to exist and be here. So. But about my concept for the 7 steps process is to define who you are, figure out who you are, and that you can understand your thoughts, and understand that you can shape your own thoughts by techniques, for example meditation. When you know who you are and you know that you can shape your thoughts and decide on them, you can start to begin to connect more deeply with who you are, which will tell you what you should focus on in life. And then we can figure out how can we make a life out of that you really want, instead of things that didn't work out up until now.
So what are some of those practical things that you do on a daily basis to try and train your mindset? You mentioned meditation.
Yeah, I can tell you that. I have to tell you, one important thing that I used to tell people, the last 5 years that I've been having now have been like medium-sized, okay life, down to a ditch, like a plane crash, and now, flying high with even being stronger than I have been, just because of a love story that ruined me. I never had that before. People knew me as always strong and solid, but this time it took me all the way down. And I can say that meditation was the only thing that really started to get my mind back, stabilize it. And have a straight path to walk through. It was through Mind Valley Academy, actually, in Malaysia. It started me to get on meditation. So I have a simple routine every day. I eat clean, good food. Not so much meat anymore. I do 2 sessions of physical practice every day. When I get up in the morning, I have a bunch of stretching, yoga-based stretching, kick practice, and push-ups, and a short 2-minute meditation. And I do the same in the evenings to down-stress my body. Because, you see what kind of work position I have. I'm sitting a lot. So,
right.
Yeah. So that I would say that just stretching for people. It's, if they don't want to do too much physical activities or practice, stretching would be the one thing they should do, combined with a little bit of meditation to get into the mind. Helps a lot.
So we only have just a few minutes left, but I'd love if everyone could just sort of share some of the things they do in their daily life to kind of keep mindset on track, just like Johnny did. Charlene, could you share a little bit?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Well, as Johnny does, I meditate in the morning. Quite honestly, I wake up. The first thing I do is I have a bottle of water. It's a 12-ounce bottle of water straight from the refrigerator, and drink that straight down to hydrate. And then I stretch a little bit and just to move the body around. And then I meditate and I get really, really quiet. But I also, I do a prayer meditation, and I always looked at it as prayer is my talking to God and meditation is listening for the answer. And so my prayer is the precursor to the meditation, right? It is the seeking for the answer of how I'm going to be today. And it prepares my mind for a reading of some sort with regard to success. And then I formulate a morning mindset post. I have a Facebook group that every morning, I used to do a morning mindset live stream every weekday morning and participate and engage in discussion with those who wanted to talk about what that success principle was, or what we're focusing on today, and how do you live that way. So today what I do is I take it into a Facebook group and I write it out. So it starts with the prayer, the meditation, and then what I read all is in the same wavelength, and I finish it off by sharing it with other people and encouraging them to discuss, ask questions, share with each other how it works in their life. And that's the beginning of my day, so that it sets me up. And really what that does is when I do go off track, or I find myself feeling something I don't like and I want to change it, I can do it quickly because I'm already mentally on track. When I can respond instead of react to the world, when I am able to maintain that throughout the day, then at the end of the day, I do a decompress, and that is my review of the day. And that honestly is the make or break for the next day. Because if I do my review well, I don't have a carryover into the next day. I don't know if anybody else has ever experienced the emotional hangovers, but when you do, or you bring in from yesterday, it's because I didn't check it off. I didn't take care of business. And that's something that gets addressed as quickly as possible. And sometimes it's reach out to the inner circle and all the other tactics. But it's the end of the day, the review of, did I do what I said I was going to do through the day? Did I take care of business? Where was it that I hurt somebody, that I helped somebody, that I was hurt, that I was helped? Because that puts me in the frame of mind of extending gratitude to the person who helped me, making sure it happens. But it also says, hey, I need to take responsibility for something that I don't feel quite right about. And it lays it to rest. I know what my action needs to be, and it'll be taken care of at the soonest opportunity. But again, that's how I end my day.
And AK, what about you? What do you do on a daily basis to sort of stay on track?
So I have a daily routine, but you're going to hear it be like, well, that's not exactly daily. So my routine is 5 days a week. I don't do it on weekends. And then also when we travel, all bets are off.
Right.
But my Monday through Friday, my daily routine is I have 4 things that I want to check off my list. One is surprise meditation. 2 is language learning, and that could be usually it's an audio course that I listen to. And then there has to be some sort of exercise, and there has to be some reading time. And people are always like, isn't writing in there? But actually, I'm a binge writer, so I might write like 8 hours on one day and then not at all the next 2 days. So meditation, language learning, reading, and exercise. And I can have that all done by 7 a.m. or sometimes it can be stretched out a little bit. But then, like I said, I don't hold myself to those on weekends. And when we travel, not probably the reading might happen, but the other stuff is probably out the window. And then my evening decompress is just a glass of wine. So.
Awesome. Well, you guys, this was really, really valuable. I'm hoping that you can sort of share, what you're really working on right now and where folks can find out more about you. Maybe just start with you, AK.
Sure. So I'm vagabondingwithkids.com, and I'm on Twitter and Facebook and on all that good stuff.
Awesome. And Johnny?
Yes, motion-effect.com. That's my main platform. And what I do besides helping people with the website is coaching people how they can break free from the norms and get up their energy, become free, and work with their passion and make some money out of it.
Awesome. And Charlene?
Sure. You can find me at searchbyburke.com. My primary focus is masterminds, and I am launching a couple of mastermind groups this year. Again, I have a few going on now, soon to end. And then I have a live event that will occur again in years to come for the Grow Alliance. But that can all be found at the beginning, which is searchbyburke.com.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk about a topic that is dear to all of your hearts. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
Have a great day.